strategy RPGs have been in a state that feels a bit dire for a while. Besides Fire Emblem and Disgaea, new big titles have been practically non-existent, with other titles being super low budget like Vesteria Saga 2, or delayed into non-existence like Advance Wars. Triangle Strategy from earlier this year was an outlier, but still, Square Enix isn't done because they've teamed up with Lancaster for an entirely new IP by the way of the DioField Chronicle. A surprising team-up, and with Isamu Kamiko Kuryo of Final Fantasy XII fame running character art, this game looks good. The DioField Chronicle is a rather point-blank title. This is a strategy RPG about the events that occur on the country of DioField through the eyes of a small mercenary corps hired by Duke Hende. This corps, the Blue Foxes, is a private group jointly led by 4 extremely different people. These people, Andreas and Freda, childhood friends and mercenaries, Ascarian, a former knight who left his position due to abuse his colleagues committed on the job, and Walter Quinn, the daughter of a prestigious house who lost her family in a conflict between noble factions. If not for the backdrop of a war between the Kingdom of DioField and the invading Empire, none of them would be able to agree on anything. The Blue Foxes can take any jobs they want, with the caveat that any orders from the Duke take priority. As a result, their missions can be anything from bandit removal and animal extermination to assisting the Royal Army at any given notice. Thanks to the pragmatism of Andreas though, the closest the story has to our main character, these missions will most often be about whatever will benefit the Blue Foxes the most, amidst a heated political climate. Within the home base of Elm Field, you take control of Andreas as he checks in with his allies, those who join him in battle, and those who supply armaments, weapons, accessories, items, and magilumic orbs. We'll get to those later. Then you can head out on a mission. Each story-relevant mission is preceded by a needlessly elaborate cutscene in which the lead characters discuss and lend their thoughts to the decision. These cutscenes are fun, each adding flair to the main cast and briefing you on the current state of the war, or various kingdom power relations that would generally lurk outside your scope as mercenaries. Combat in the DioField Chronicle is a peculiar blend of turn-based and real-time strategy gameplay. You select up to 4 units to deploy and give them directions on where to move. If they move close enough to an enemy, they will begin to auto-attack unless you direct them not to. Each character has a couple of skills determined by that character's specific class and equipped weapon, which can be used at any time, that cost EP, and have a cooldown before the character can use another skill. Whilst recovering is fairly straightforward, even a single unit can be rather tricky to take down without damage if you want to conserve EP, which means taking on large swaths of enemies a considerable risk. You'll need to time your offensives not to risk your units being overrun. This means that how you direct your units can make things much more accessible or challenging for you, allowing you to be engaged with far too many foes at once, or depending on the objective, skip enemy encounters entirely. As you fight, you'll obtain drops that recover your HP and EP and increase your TP gauge. Filling up your TP allows you to use your Magilumic Orbs, which are powerful summon spells that can deal damage, inflict debuffs, restore your health, or buff your team. For customization, you can append a character to act as a support unit for another, giving that pair access to more skills to use in battle, and you'll obtain points from missions that can be used to boost their powers further, whilst level ups net characters skill points for redeeming personal passives. I found it to be a visually impressive game, utilizing the models especially to look like little pieces on a diorama in battle, with skills using fantastic VFX to stand out. Each cutscene has the same vibe as a specially pre-rendered FMV from the PlayStation 2 era. The title is almost entirely dubbed, with a European cast to fit the flavor. I immensely enjoyed it. The game could have used a backlog though in cutscenes to let you reread or replay voice lines to help you really appreciate it. Performance is consistently solid, however, now and then if you're running on the Nintendo Switch, you may notice a couple of drops when using a cinematic attack, or if you're moving too fast on the menu. It's very weird, but largely ignorable. Notably, one of the selling points was a soundtrack composed by composers who worked on Game of Thrones. While the soundtrack is good, I feel as though it bleeds too much into the background and nothing really stands out when you're playing. It feels more like a soundtrack for a TV show than a video game, and I don't feel it meshes well with the medium. On the plus side, you forget the game only has one battle theme because you forget what it sounds like. As a Square Enix and Lancaster developed game, I had certain musical expectations that the DioField Chronicle would be able to deliver on, and it didn't come remotely close. What the DioField Chronicle did deliver on, however, is narrative. The title is deeply impersonal. Characters have little to talk about, every major mission leads to a short time skip, the only narration is about the facts of the matter at hand, and the only times you find out what's going on in someone's head are when Adrius decides to converse with someone who wants to spell. You are left entirely in the dark. This seems bad, but I wouldn't have it any other way. This game is ulterior motives galore. Nearly everyone has an agenda, and there exists an ever-present political pile-up just waiting to fall like a house of cards. Your job as the player is to either start theory crafting or pull out the popcorn as the group begins splintering. That impersonal narrative presentation allows characters to drop huge reveals like they're nothing, allowing you to bask in the glory of your correct prediction or let the surprise hit you like a shield to the face. I ended up thoroughly enjoying the entire cast, and more games need to have the sheer guts that the DioField Chronicle has to use their leads like this. Balterquin especially, we need more characters like her, I love her so much. Side note, if you want more character lore and the existing conversations aren't enough, the library has a bunch of paperwork for you to pursue should you be interested. It's even got documentation on the continent's power struggles. I accidentally set my expectations for the DioField Chronicle relatively high. That is a recipe for disaster. However, I'm pleased to report that I enjoyed this game at nearly every turn. This ambitious cast star in a narrative that is running a contest to how much wool they can pull over each other's eyes, and I am here for it every step of the way. I'd like some more, please, too, like a sequel or something in the same world with more political mayhem. Sounds fantastic. And more Walter Quinn, please. Noisy Pixel is giving the DioField Chronicle an 8.5 out of 10. Thank you guys so much for watching. Noisy Pixel is a group dedicated to bringing you guys the best news, features, previews, and more. Please stick around and make sure to ring the bell to stay up to date on all of our future content. We've also got podcasts and live streams and all sorts of other content now. That's really, really cool. Check those out. And if you're somehow still here and you remember any of the characters' names, feel free to throw your favorites down below because, you know, I will comment on them because it's a real fun it's a real fun cast.
Noisy Pixel.